Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Outwired. My name is Brian Cyril with Insider Perks. We're here with the esteemed Scott Barr from Cairn Consulting Group. We're going to talk about some really interesting stuff today. I think, Scott, we have up on our agenda. So I should pull up the description since we put it together like so last minute. But what were the two things that you were going to talk about later? We were going to talk about something about Gen Z, right?
Yeah, kind of, um, what can and should the industry do to help kind of embrace this generation a little bit more? I know we've talked about it, a few times on the show, but I think it's worth revisiting, especially, now that the prime camping season is kind of somewhat, at least somewhat over, and when people start to look toward next year, it's like, what is it about this generation? What can we do? It's kind of like, maybe make it a little bit more action oriented in terms of that generation. So yeah, that's one. And the other one is, I think it's kind of related, in fact, though, is the idea of immersive versus standalone experiences. Experiences is the word of the year, it seems, in our industry. Everybody talks about experiences, but yeah, let's talk about what the benefits, the pros and cons of immersive versus standalone experiences if you're a campground or glampground owner or manager.
So immersive versus like ice cream social.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could you immerse yourself in the ice cream?
I would love to.
Maybe an
I've
adults only thing, perhaps, maybe. But
I've immersed myself in the ice cream culture. How's that?
okay, well
I'll put it that way.
that's a more safe place. We could take that.
Yes. Right.
I think we're going to do some of this live in ChatGPT, right? Because we were going to put more of an emphasis on learning. And so I think what I want to do is, instead of coming and preparing everybody for some of the stuff that we have, just showing, and that's good, like from a research perspective, if we deep dive into a topic, but I think it'll be interesting to show people how we get to the answers, which I think is a big part of what we did at the beginning of Outwire, but we kind of got away from it. We had so much to talk about. And then, maybe you could say I went on a little doomer rant for a little bit, but like it needed to be said, right? So we'll still have a little bit of that doom here and there, but we're going to try to be a little bit more lively and show you guys how you can learn and use these tools to your advantage in your operations and your business. Because as somebody so eloquently pointed out, I think on it was Fireside Chats earlier, because this is our monthly show where we talk about AI and marketing on Fireside Chats, that we talk a lot about job loss, but it's really going to be the people. It's not going to be AI that takes your job. It's going to be the people who use AI, and that person who uses AI can do the job of 8 to 10 people that's going to indirectly take your job. And so if you can be one of those people, then you are going to be good for a while, right? So
Absolutely.
let's just help get some people to that point who want to jump on board with us, I think. So we'll do a little bit of learning. In advance of that, we'll do a little bit of learning. We're going to have a new segment on learning briefly, and then we'll talk about your two topics, Scott, and some random other things, some AI news that's come across our desk. So what's come across your desk, though, as I open I'm having a cider today. So this is from, what are you having, by the way?
I am having an Oktoberfest.
Okay, very nice. October. Yeah, I do the same thing. I can't figure out how to do it. Is that a local Maine company, Definitive Brewing?
It is. Yep.
Nice.
It's actually a solid Oktoberfest. Yeah, sometimes they come out a little weird. This is actually a pretty good one. It's a little more subtle.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the strong Oktoberfest, but I actually haven't had one, so maybe I'll have to go to a brewery before we leave and see if we can figure that, or go see one. Maybe we'll go. Maybe I should go tonight. I'll see. No, Krista has to work. That can't work. All right. Anyway, Friday night. So this is Truck 59 Cider House. It's a cider today. I don't think I've ever had a cider on the show today. It's just a classic dry cider, but they make some really good, unique ones. They make some like red wine infused stuff and whatever else. So it's from, this whole thing started with and I know we're not a show about alcohol, but you know how we like to diversify into things that we don't know what we're talking about, really. There's a really good winery in BC that I discovered called Hatch Winery that makes really quirky wines and blends. They don't really make their own straight up unique, I don't know, Cabernet Sauv or what, but it's blends and creative stuff. And they're kind of off, not off color, but off, I don't know, the normal thing that you'd see wineries do, right? The sophisticated, the whatever. And so we went to their winery a couple years ago when we were out at my girlfriend's cabin for the summer. And I really liked almost everything I tasted there. You can go to certain breweries, and you just it may not be your favorite thing, but you can tell that they put love and care into all the individual things at the brewery. And so I liked everything at Hatch, and so then I subscribed to Hatch. Like I got a box mailed to me like every quarter, barrels of wine. I was like, all right, this is kind of good. And then I was like, all right, well, I want some wine at my house. So I went on their website and they own like, I don't know, 6 other wineries and like a cidery and whatever else. And I just subscribed to everything. So now I have a lot of this in my basement. And then I stopped drinking alcohol as much as I normally did. So now I have this giant buildup of wine in the basement. It's going to take me about 7 years to drink. This is one of those ones that were like and still everything from every winery that they've sent me, with the exception of maybe one, Krista said she was like, I'm not sure I like this, but it was more of a because she was trying to drink it solo versus with food. It's all been delicious. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking today. So as I open that, what came across your desk this week?
This is it's interesting. I think about this before every show. Like, what is it that I could bring up that's kind of relevant and or interesting, and I think surprisingly enough, it actually happened today.
Okay.
And it was something I shared with you earlier, Brian, in a little bit more of a rant than I'll do here, but because it just made me think about things a little bit more. That someone in one of the industry media outlets in travel posted that, like, the headline suggested that people are now attracted to like camping in the outdoors because of relaxation versus versus roughing it.
Okay.
And I'm like, where have you been? Like forever. I mean, we've been measuring and reporting this exact result, openly since 2014. This is not anything new.
I'm sorry, I want you to finish, but I'm thinking as I'm drinking this, like I really want to just have a paper bag, so I look like the full bum picture on the show. But sorry,
That would
continue.
be. I can't say that that's never happened to me before.
Yeah.
The paper bag thing. Yeah. In fact, once in Canada. So, Le Fin du Monde.
I don't know what that means. I don't speak French. I'm not in Quebec, man.
It's a beer. It's a beer.
Okay. I still don't know what it means, but good to know that it's a beer.
Basically the end of the world, I think, is what it means.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's French. It's uplifting. So, but anyway, so that I had a knee-jerk reaction to this whole thing. Anyway, that I'm like, what? This is not new. It was presented as something new, and because it was a new survey by an organization, so I guess for them it was new. But it, as I thought about it a little bit more, I'm like, maybe the issue here isn't what they did. It's maybe what we didn't do, which is to kind of revisit some of this stuff now and again, to look at these things and say, this is something you should pay attention to. And maybe we didn't shout it loud enough initially, or throughout the years. It's been measured, again, for 11 straight years, we've had that result. And it's something that we've talked about, like as this, a motivation for camping and how people prefer. It's what they want, that experience. It's always been there, but now it's just a little bit more loud, it seems. And again, it's not an emerging trend. It's not emerging. This isn't new. And there's probably, I guess, and again, one of the reasons I bring this up too is what else is out there that we should probably revisit? And lots. Yeah. There's probably a lot of things that we never shouted from the rooftops loud enough, and put it out there aggressively into the industry so that it took hold. And I think that's part of it. It has to be, a really strong message. You have to push it, and you have to get it in front of people's faces and talk about it, discuss it. We'll talk about immersion later, but immerse yourselves in it, in the information, and get others to do so as well, because that's the only way it's going to take hold. And kind of, because then again, my other thought was, what could the benefit have been to some people had we pushed that a little bit harder early on?
Yeah.
Would they be positioned a little bit better right now? I'm not saying that like this crushed people or anything.
No, yeah, but like Yeah, the reinforcement of it. I mean, that's kind of why I feel like it's beneficial for me to do what I do. Like a lot of people, there's also the cohort of people who say like, "I'm annoyed. Shut up, Brian. I'm tired of hearing from you. Like you're saying maybe not the same thing, but like I just don't want to hear what's coming out of your mouth." And and that's not me, right? Specifically, but
Mhm.
there's that with everything that someone is saying or trying to push or reinforce repetitive repeatedly over and over again, there's always going to be people who say like, I don't want to hear that. That's not my jam. Whatever, that's fine. But then that also shouldn't, as you're pointing out, it shouldn't stop you if you are confident in your message and you've done the research and you have the data and you're trying to truly help people, that shouldn't make you shut up because that's the typically the people who don't want to hear that message are the ones that are not wanting to change. I mean,
Correct.
unless you're just like, there's obviously the possibility that I'm completely wrong and just stupid, which happens frequently from me, like, right? So, but assuming I'm right, then that's generally what it ends up being.
Yeah, and so anyway, that to me was quite relevant, and actually just one other thing too, and kind of based on some of the back and forth you and I had earlier this week too, that this whole idea of kind of responsibility in what we report and how we position things, and how we as individuals, what's our responsibility there, and I've been processing that quite a bit, and feel pretty strongly that and I've actually changed some of the my positioning in some information I'm in the process of reporting out now, in terms of taking maybe a more balanced stance, even though knowing that it might not always be presented in the way we would like it to be,
Yeah.
but at least we take that stance and we put it in front of people. And again, as you were just saying, keep reinforcing that message that sometimes it's our responsibility to do that, and sometimes our responsibility is to take a either, to put it lightly, a nuanced approach, if not a more aggressive stance in some areas, just to make sure that that balance is there, that um, all the different considerations are brought forward. And so, in fact, I submitted a report today, and I took a much more critical view of it. I didn't take away any of the positives, but I added a, hey, you might want to consider this, or here's kind of a pro con. Look at things, two columns. Here's the pros, here's the cons. Just taking that approach versus just a straight up summary. Taking a little bit more of an active stance in some of these findings, and again, I feel like that's part of my role in the work I do and what people look for me to do. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Really, lots of deep thoughts early in the week.
Well, I mean, that's what I kind of see too. My role is like I'm not here saying that I'm right. Like obviously I have my own opinions and they're strong and I research a lot and I joke about that I have no life, right? But I spend a lot of time researching this stuff and studying it and analyzing it and listening to other people's opinions and disseminating and thinking and right. And we're all in our own bubbles of things that we choose to surround ourselves with and choose not to surround ourselves with. And because I'm all around AI, I don't see the perspective of outside the bubble of AI. So like but I'm not here saying that I'm right. I'm just here saying that I have a perspective. And I think because I have studied this and it is my craft and I'm very good at it, that there's a perspective here that you should listen to. That doesn't mean you should just listen to Brian and stop and say Brian knows what's going to happen. No, not even close, right? Brian knows 1% of what's about to happen. But I'm one piece of the conversation of the puzzle that you should take and piece together with other pieces of information to the puzzle to come to your own conclusion based on data you're hearing from multiple people about what, like, look at the pros and cons and come to a conclusion, right? Like you're saying.
Yep, absolutely,
So,
absolutely. It's a part of the puzzle. It's our it's our role in the work we do.
yeah, I mean, like if you only watch me, you're going to think that I'm arrogant and think I know everything, but that's not the message. The message is I'm just one voice. Go listen to a bunch of other people and then decide if I'm full of shit, which I am at least half full of shit. Like not intentionally, right? But hello, puppy. Welcome to
Well,
the show. I mean,
and
I'm,
a lot of people are, and again, we
but
could
not
talk.
intentionally. Some people are intentionally full of shit,
Oh,
right?
sure, and
But
some aren't.
yeah,
I would 100% agree with that. It's, I think, as within the industry, as and we all are consumers of information. What, even though we are also providers of it, we are also consumers of it,
Yeah.
and everyone. It's incumbent upon everyone to be better consumers of information, and that is to have much more critical conversations with people, and to take a much more critical look at what it is you're looking at in terms of output. For example, if someone's presenting information as an anecdote, take it as an anecdote. Even if they position it as, this is what all customers want because this is what I see at my park.
Right.
No, you don't make a decision based off that.
No.
You don't change what you're doing. You start adding services and amenities because of what that person said. Now, they could be right, but that's too risky. No, it's incumbent upon you, once again, to go out there and do more digging. Ask
We
more
should do
people.
that. When we get into AI, I want to do a little bit about viewpoints, and we'll explore that with Gen Z because I think that'll be an interesting thing to show people because AI can adopt different personas, and you'll see what it says like the
Mhm.
different viewpoint is from different types of people depending on their experiences and their age and who they're dealing with and stuff. That'll be interesting to look at, I think.
Absolutely, because again, that's bringing together those pieces of the puzzle. It's like if you're out there looking for information, talk to a bunch of people, like Brian was just saying. It's like go out there and do it. It's like, if you don't like what Brian says, ask someone else, and if you don't like what I say, ask someone else. I welcome it. It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
it's do it. I have a lot of respect for people who do that, and then you're gonna come back to us, of course, but but no, it's like, yeah,
In
do
some
that.
piece or form or fashion, right? But you're gonna have your own opinion, and, like, I love educated clients. Like, come to me and ask me questions. Don't You should never take what I say at face value. I tell that to everybody who calls and has a conversation with me about, like, "I wanna talk to you about marketing my RV park or AI services or whatever else at my park." Like, I always open that and say, like, "You cannot listen to me. You should not take what I'm saying at face value." Like, write down bullet points of what we're talking about and go to ChatGPT when we're having a conversation. And I literally tell this to people, like, say, I just talked to this guy on the phone and he told me to do this for marketing. Is he full of shit? And see what ChatGPT says. Like, it's so easy to just fact check people and whether you're being misled now today. It's unbelievable. So you just have to be willing to do like 5% enough to be dangerous to type in ChatGPT and you'll avoid being misinformed, misled, whatever, by quite a bit. So, and I've said that before, like I frequently will do that in ChatGPT, and I have it I probably could do a better job of reinforcing it in my prompt that I have in my role that I give it, like the master role. But I say like, anytime I'm asking like a factual related or opinionated thing, and there's an opposing viewpoint, be sure to tell me what that opposing viewpoint is so I can consider it. Right? Because like
Absolutely.
all of us have blinders on, right? Especially people like me who are deep into the AI world. Like, we all have blinders on. It
Sure.
doesn't,
Oh,
so
and I can really get in the weeds and get immersed in data, and sometimes you don't always see the big picture either. You look at individual numbers and individual outcomes, and sometimes you lose sight of how that fits with everything else that we know or should know.
for sure. All right, you wanna look at a couple AI news things?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, we'll do ChatGPT's browser first because that's interesting to talk about. So, Hudson, do you wanna share that screen? You have to do it in the middle. Yeah, the YouTube video for ChatGPT Atlas. Yeah, so just share it in the middle, and then this came out yesterday. Okay, so we have seen this in a couple different places, right? So we've seen Perplexity has come out with a browser that's similar to this. Uh, we've seen Perplexity come out with a video that's similar like this. Did we lose Scott? Scott just dropped off and came back on. There you go, Scott. What happened to
Yeah,
you? Oh,
yeah.
man.
I don't know what happened. It put me
Uh,
backstage.
so, so you saw the video though. So
I
check
did. I
the
did see
Atlas.
the video. Just so
Uh,
you know, the first part of that video, the place that it was referring to was Bethel, Maine. That's where I live.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
The AI is already coming for you. So so this is a new browser released by ChatGPT, right? So for those of us in the industry who have been following this for a while, we've known there have been rumors that this is coming, right? Perplexity is another AI company that released a browser called Comet a few, I think, months ago now. That was something sort of similar. This is a little bit more polished from OpenAI, I feel like. And then you're going to see within weeks, I think Google's stock dropped yesterday by 4% or something, and then maybe recovered when ChatGPT announced their browser, because Chrome is a big part of Google's ecosystem. So you will see Google put this into their own browser relatively quickly as well, probably within the next few weeks as a response to this. But a couple things here, right? Like you saw in the video, like it does your basic searches that you expect every browser to do. We don't know yet if it's going to have the extensions like Google Chrome does, but we were having a team meeting about this morning, and one of my team members brought up about how like maybe you don't even need extensions anymore because you can just tell the AI like take a screenshot of this or what's the color in that or whatever that is, right? So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So we don't know about extensions and what it's built on, whether it's Chromium or something else. But so you can do all the regular browser things that you want to do. But in addition to that, like it remembers your entire browser history. So you can ask questions about what was that thing I saw for the shirt yesterday, like 3 days ago. And it'll use AI to like search through your browser history and be like, here's the thing. Like, let me open the tab for you, whatever else, right? So super helpful. It's just ways that the AI can, the more you use it, the more it knows about you, the more it can surface things and help you continue where you left off and not forget things and whatever else, right? But then also you saw at the last piece of that, what we've been talking about for a long time, which is the agentic use of AI. This has been available as an agent mode for ChatGPT for a couple months now. Operator's been out since January of this year. Like the Gemini or Google has something called Project Mariner that they're trying to bake into Chrome already that will be accelerated by this. This is what we keep saying. This is the agents that are going to browse. They're going to go plan trips for you. They're going to look at your campground website. They're going to select the site they want. They're going to choose the campground that they feel is best for their person. Like the disconnect is here. This is still just the very beginning, but this is the beginning of no more humans browsing your website. So we don't need to hash out a broken record again, but like Scott said, we maybe need to push this a little bit more. Like your marketing manager who sits in your office and doesn't know how to do anything except manage the people, the agency that you hire, or the social media content creator that work, like those people are gone. They're finished. If the only thing they can do is manage, that doesn't mean marketing people aren't valuable. But marketing people need to start learning how to do strategy instead of the managers, right? They don't know how to do these things because what they're doing is they're sitting in the meetings and they're carefully pondering all the things and debating about the design of the website and the color and whether the button on the CTA is rounded or squared and what the words say and will this convert better or will it won't. It doesn't matter because the human being is not going to be there anymore. It doesn't matter. Stop wasting your fucking time in meetings and doing these worthless things. And nobody wants to hear that. Like some people want to hear that, but most people don't want to hear that. And so we have at our agency, we have like the clients who are like, and I said this on the show earlier, there's almost no middle ground on Fireside Chats earlier. There's almost no middle ground between us. We see the people who are like, yep, Brian, I see what you're doing, not because I've only listened to you, but because I've gone and researched what you said and believe that this is the right path. And then there are the other people who are like, oh fuck no, like you get away with me with that AI stuff, right? Like, and there's a couple people who've canceled their services. Like it's not for us. Okay, like I don't understand that logic. I get Brian is not for you, like we were talking about earlier, right? But good luck running and hiding from AI. And so, and there's really nobody in the middle. It's really interesting. Like, I think there for sure are people in the middle, but their opinions are so strong that they just go to one side or the other on this thing. But like, here it is again, right in front of you, one more tool, and we're just still on the bottom end of the curve, right? Like the curve is about to go up like that.
Mhm.
We're still all the way down here on the slow end of the curve. You think it's moving fast now? You wait and see. They're building all the data centers right now. They're spending trillions of dollars all around the world to build the data centers. When the data centers start coming online in the next few months, then what you're going to see is the AI is going to have enough compute to start solving all the things. It can already solve the foundational levels of math. We saw ChatGPT and Gemini won another Frontier Math Award uh, for solving a bunch of those really, really super hard problems that like takes, I don't know, people 6 months to solve. Solved it in a couple hours. So like math is almost basically solved. Once you solve math, you solve literally everything. Physics and biology and science and all of it is math. And so when these data centers start coming online and you have the compute, then you're going to start to see really society start to change. And some of that's going to be good. Some of it's going to be maybe not so good. But we'll see. Like, but so you got to pay attention to this stuff, and you got to stop sticking your head in the sand. You can't hide from AI. Like, good luck to you. I'm trying to help as many people as we can, but you've got to go out and you don't have to listen to Brian. Just go out and be like, is Brian full of shit? And I guarantee you that ChatGPT will say I'm not full of shit because I've researched my craft enough. Now, you could also say, is there a different opinion to what Brian's logic is? And the AI will be like, yes, of course there is. And here's a different way to think about it. But all of it's going to involve preparing with AI and not ignoring AI. So, but yeah, like the agentic commerce is built in now. You'll be able to chat with it. Eventually, you'll be able to do, well, you can do voice to text in the bottom right corner, but eventually you'll dictate everything. You don't have to have the tab open right in front of you. So they showed ordering on like an Instacart or something like that. And there's longer videos of this online and demonstrations and things. We just watched something for the quick sake of it. But like this is it. Like you're gonna say, and then eventually it's gonna know your calendar and your Gmail, all the things about you. The more it knows about your browser history, the more helpful it's gonna be. And it knows like when some of the demos they said like get me the usual things that I need for the beach. It knows that you typically go shopping at Instacart. It knows that you typically buy SPF 30 instead of SPF 50. It knows that you have 2 kids. It knows, right? And just it's it is what it is, guys. Like, so the browser is available today. It was available yesterday, but only to Mac users for now. They're going to build a Windows, Android app, whatever app. I would assume they'll move pretty fast since like AI can code things now, right? So I'm pretty sure they have better models than the coding models we have. So hopefully that'll move fast. If you want to play with an AI browser now, Perplexity Comet is available. And like I said, I expect Google Chrome to like in a couple weeks max to come out with this stuff.
I've been using the Comet browser now and again. Been experimenting with it to see, to see how it works. It actually, I've enjoyed it. I've created some tasks that it does for me, a couple daily tasks, and
Okay.
yeah, it's been good. It seems pretty responsive. It I would say at this point I prefer it over Chrome.
Okay.
Looking at it side by side, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's like I'm still in the early stages, yeah, of checking it out, but it has there's something to be said for it, at least that approach and using those browsers.
I'm looking for one more news video that I was going to share with everybody. I just watched it like a week ago. Okay. Hudson, on YouTube, look up a video called Pivotal, Pivotal, Out in the Open. That's what the video is called. And it should be a 2-minute, 50-second video. Yep, that one. 2-minute, 50 seconds. Let's share that. We got some flying car news for all
Ooh.
the people who think that it's not going to happen. Just another cool company that came across my feed. Don't you want to just fucking take off in one of those things? That thing is badass.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Silence, alone in the quiet. I'm tired, but I like it. I'm a long way from home. But the further in I go, the closer I will be to out in the open. Out in the open. Out in the open. Out in the open.
Okay, so a new company called Pivotal, right? But like again, we've talked about flying cars. We talked about how they're in front of the FAA for approval. They're probably going to see a couple get approved, maybe not by the end of the year, but like first quarter of next year-ish now that we're into the holiday season almost, right? But these companies already have them built. We've covered this in a previous show, like Joby Aviation and a bunch of other people, right? And like these things are coming. They're here. They've already been approved in China. They're already like working on like it's here. And so the ability of that to do what you're talking about, like they landed in an alpaca farm and did a tour on alpaca and had an experience. They landed in the golf course and went golfing and had an experience. They're going to want to land at glamping resorts and and campgrounds and have an experience. It will let the 45 million people in New York City who don't have cars get out of the fucking city and go camping in nature. Is your campground ready for this? Because those people aren't going to have RVs. Or actually, technically, they will, because that fucking thing is for sure a recreational vehicle, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I didn't see any pilot controls. I don't know if that thing was autonomous or not. Like, I would assume that you don't need a pilot's license to do that. But
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
I didn't think of that, but yeah. Yeah, like what is it that I mean, I would assume they come under the same rules as like ultralights. It's about the
Yeah.
same
But if
type
it's
of
all autonomous, like the government's going to have to react to this stuff. But like, and whether they're taxi services or whatever they are from different companies, like your people are going to be able to get from the mass cities without fighting the traffic in 3 hours to your destination in 20 minutes. Whoop, up, down. Do you have a landing pad? Are you prepared for that? Are you willing to welcome them? Do you have the accommodations? Do you know what that type of demographic needs? Are you ready to take advantage of them? Or are you just sitting hoping on a prayer that all these people have $100,000 of disposable income or can get financing to buy an RV? Not that you shouldn't pay attention to RVs, but that there's a brand new audience that's coming here, guys. And it's gonna open up opportunities for people to build glamping resorts in the middle of islands with no roads. And they're gonna be able to go camping truly immersively in nature. Like, and it's just gonna be a really, really interesting future. And like it's not 20 years away. It's now. These companies exist, right? So That was interesting to me. Okay. I think I want to go back to the basics really quick in a learning segment, Scott, if you're open to this.
Let's do it.
I think we should talk about prompting because I still feel like that's the gold mine that many people are missing. But so I spent like the 15 minutes, literally is 15 minutes before the show, making what AI says is a really funny intro video to our learning segment. I sort of agree, but it's really interesting how it came out. So maybe I don't know, maybe I'll edit it and mess around with it later. But so we'll just intro our learning section with this and then we'll go. So go ahead and play that video, Hudson. The last one I uploaded there. The one, no, it's built in. Remember the one I uploaded over there? Yeah. Yep.
Huh? Learning AI is easier than you think.
No prior experience necessary.
You'll be training models in no time. Yes!
So if we optimize the back-end queries, we improve the latency by at least 20%, right? You see? And making friends along the way.
Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Let's get learning.
All right. What do you think? That's pretty good.
Right.
For like 15 minutes, that wasn't too bad, right?
No.
Google VO 3.1. You can make we made a commercial for Insider Perks the other day that's on LinkedIn and being advertised on YouTube right now. That was like 2 minutes long that like few people can tell is AI. And I could have done a better job with it, but I wanted to see how people adopt it. So far, everybody seems to love it. But that stuff, like, I mean, I made a commercial that would have cost me $100,000 with a film crew and grip people and mics and camera guys and sets and actors and props. Like, right? Like, so it's pretty crazy what this stuff can do if you learn these tools. So back to the basics here. So if we're going to share my screen over here, hit that little number 5, yeah, D or whatever it is. Ready when you are. So I think the first thing is like, if we're starting from a basic fundamental foundational level here, right? If you're coming at AI, and many of you by this time, it's been 2-3 years, right? Almost 3 years now. It's been almost 3 years since ChatGPT came out. Can you believe that? Fuck. It's been almost 3 years. Many of you by this time have experimented with AI a little bit. You played with it. You got frustrated with it. Some of you are good at it, right? But like most of you have just played with it and said like, well, it can do this thing or this one thing, or I don't know how to do it, or it sucks at this, or it doesn't write as good as me, or whatever else. The thing that you're struggling with, full stop, is the input needs to be better so that you can get a better output. And all of this is prompting, but it's not that complicated. It's the same thing as talking to a human. So if you own a campground out there, which most of our audience probably does, then you're used to talking and telling your employees what to do, right? So if you have Sally who works for you in the office, and Sally comes in and says, I'm here to report for work today. And you're like, Sally, I just need you to make sure the campground is clean. Well, Sally would then go out and she could choose to do whatever she wanted to do, right? She could go to your bathroom and clean it. She could go to the miniature golf course and sweep it. She could prep some sites for arrival, organize your store. Like there's dozens of different things that Sally could choose to do as part of her role there when you're instructing her to go clean the campground. But if instead you say, if you prompt Sally better and you say, Sally, today I really need you to clean the bathrooms and then I need you to prep the sites for arrival and be done by 12 o'clock. Then Sally has instructions that are much more better suited for her day and what you want to accomplish that will lead her to a goal that will help her deliver what you actually want. Make sense? Are you following me so far, Scott?
Yep.
Okay. This is all prompting is. This is all prompting is. So instead of typing in or write me a blog post for my campground, you could stop there and it would, but you could say, write me a blog post for my campground located in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Better prompt, okay? My target audience is Gen Z, and I want to talk about my new amenities I built for them. One is a immersive outdoor VR screen. My campground is open during the summer, and I attract people from Albuquerque. Right? Do you see? So, like, we can keep going. We're not even going to hit enter on this prompt. But do you see the idea behind this? Is that you're telling
Right.
it the task you want it to do, but the more context that you're giving it, the better. And then you can take it, like blog post is sort of an example, but if you have someone who's written a blog post for you in the past for your campground, then you can say, okay, here, and then I want it in the style of, casual, informative, and salesy. Length, 2,500 words, short sentences, a little humor, sprinkled throughout, right? Can't spell, but sprinkled throughout. And then you can say, like, here is an example of a blog post I wrote that I love the style of, and then paste the blog post in there. And so then you're steering it, right? You're giving it a task. You're saying how I want it. You're giving it much more information. You're telling it about your campground. You're saying exactly what you want the output to be. And you're giving an example of a blog post that you liked before. So now the AI is going to give you a much better answer, the same way as you would hire a freelancer and give them a scope of project of what you want, right? Talking to the AI is no different than talking to a human. The more information you give it, the more ways you steer it, the more examples you give of what you like, the less time you're going to have to go back and say, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. The less frustration you're going to get with it, the more output you're going to get from it. So that's the number one thing. But number two is just ask it here, right? So many people miss this step. And I will point out one thing up here with ChatGPT 5. You probably have a model picker here. I don't know if the free people have this, but if you have a model picker here, make sure you choose thinking. And then under thinking here, you can choose how long you want it to think. More complex questions deserve more thinking. Just like we talked about last week about how the AI is built with the neurons in your brain and how every word that I'm saying right now is happening and coming out of my mouth the same way ChatGPT would do it, basically. The longer I pause and think about what I'm saying, the more I can refine my approach and make sure that it's the right thing. Do you hear me? I'm just changing, right? I'm thinking. So, like, give the AI the ability to think. You have the control of that, right? Just like you can give yourself the ability to think. If you don't have it, just use the auto mode. And in the auto mode, you can also tell it, think about this for a while, right? And so you can say, like, I really need super basic introduction to prompting. The components, what make a good one, etc. I am a brand new person to all this. Know nothing about AI. Walk me through it like I am a 10th grader. Right? Don't search. I always put don't search, but you can put search and it'll give you prompt guides depending on what you're asking, right? So you have what you have in front of you is an alien intelligence. The alien intelligence is default trained to, if it doesn't know something or it feels like it needs to research something, it will go research the internet. The internet is full of people who have opinions and a lot of people who write junk articles, and it's 52% written by AI already. It's an interesting stat. There was a chart I think I shared with you, Scott. It's 52% written by AI already.
Yep.
So, like, if you let it search the internet, it's going to only be as smart as the human beings' articles that it searches. Whereas if you let it form its own opinions based on its own internal intelligence, depending on what you're asking, you're going to get a better answer, right? Don't search, give me your knowledge only. And then I just say do not use memory, but you don't need to put that part. And so you can see, like, it'll start to say here, like, thinking. Whereas if you didn't put think, it may just give you an answer. And you can click on the thinking and it will actually show you a little bit about what it's thinking about sometimes. In that case, it just thought for 7 seconds. And so here's a no-nonsense, beginner-friendly mini course on prompting, taught like you're in 10th grade. What is a prompt? A prompt is the message, and I'm just reading this, skimming this right for the people who are listening on the podcast later. What is a prompt? A prompt is the message you give an AI to get the result you want. It's just instructions plus context. And then it does my Socratic thing, so we can ignore that. That won't do it for you. So the 7 building blocks of a solid prompt. Think of a good prompt like a recipe. Use these blocks. You won't always need all 7. Number 1 is a role. Who should the AI pretend to be? This ChatGPT knows everything. So if you're trying to write marketing copy or ask for accounting advice or ask for legal advice or have an assistant that has to do with permitting, right? Say, act as a construction specialist with 20 years of installing playgrounds at campgrounds. And it will narrow down the field of knowledge that it's pulling from and usually give you a better answer, okay? You can say anything. The example here is you're a patient math tutor. Goal/task, what exactly should it do? For example, is explain how to factor quadratic. Who the heck is asking that? No one is asking that, are they? You?
Yeah.
Okay. Explain how to factor quadratics. Audience, who is it for? Age or background? Example, teach it to a 10th grader who's seen foil but is rusty. Constraints, limits, rules, tone, and length. Example, keep it under 200 words, no jargon. Context or data, what the AI needs to know. Example, this student confuses signs when distributing. Format, how the output should look. Give a 3-step method and then 2 practice problems with answers. And then examples, optional but powerful, show what good looks like. The blog we talked about up there, right? Example, provide a short example explanation the AI should imitate. And then a simple prompt template, fill in the blanks. So like it says, you can see it on your screen. If you're watching this, if you're listening, I would encourage you to just go to YouTube maybe and look at this. But role, you are this type of expert. Task, the exact thing you want. Audience, who it's for. Constraints, rules like length, tone, and must avoid. Context, any facts the AI should consider. Format, bullet list, table, steps, JSON, etc. Examples, 1 mini example of desired style or output. Now do it. A good prompt is clear and specific. Explain like I'm 15 beats explain it. 1 main goal per request. Avoid and also chains. Concrete success criteria. 3 bullets and 1-line summary. And guardrails against BS. If you don't know, say so and ask me what's missing. It'll be interesting to see if somebody runs that, if it says that, because I've told my AI to put those guardrails in. So I wonder if it just says that because, anyway. Right level of detail. Enough context and not novel. And so these are my Socratic checks. I keep skipping them over. But like if you want fewer vague answers, which sentence would you add to your prompt? It just makes me think every time, right? So quick before and after examples. Bad would be tell me about climate change. Better is role is high school science teacher. Task, explain the greenhouse effect to a 10th grader. Constraints, under 150 words, no advanced math. Format, 3 bullet points plus 1 sentence analogy. If a term is technical, define it in plain English. Now do it. Bad prompt, write an email to a customer. Better, role, customer support rep. Task, write a polite apology email for a 2-day shipping delay. Audience, busy professional. Constraints, 120 to 160 words, warm but concise, no blame, offer 10% coupon code, welcome 10, format subject line plus body with short paragraphs, context, order number 48217, ship today. Now do it. See how it's different, right? Iterative prompting, how pros get great results. Think draft, critique, and revise. So ask for a draft using the template. Critique the output inside your next prompt. So strengths are, here's a list of things, a fix, be specific, tone, structure, missing facts, and command the revision, rewrite with these fixes. So don't get frustrated with it. You have to look at it like a new employee who you would just hire at your campground, who would come to you and say, all right, go clean the campground. And in our example, well, I don't know how to clean the campground. Like, I know how to clean, but I don't know how to clean your campground in your specific way. And you have to train them. Here's the things that you use. Here's the products that I like to do. Here's the method I like to do. Here's the way that you get it done fast. Here's the doors you have to open or close, or the stalls, or the locations of the bathroom, or the knowledge that this sink leaks or doesn't leak, or like things like that, right? So it's the same thing as iterating, except when you iterate with an AI, if you do it right, you never have to teach it again. So there's a benefit to that. Common pitfalls and how to fix them. Vague verbs like analyze or discuss, replace with observable outputs. List 5 pros and cons or rank top 3 with reasons. Too many goals at once. Split them into steps or separate prompts. No format. Add a structure, bullet points, steps, tables. Otherwise, it will give you something you don't want, maybe. Hallucinations. Add if uncertain, say so, and ask me for data. The other thing that I do at the end of every prompt, usually sometimes, is are there any questions you have for me before you get started doing what I want you to do? And the AI will ask you a bunch of questions. And it'll be like, yeah, I need to know this and this and this and this and that. And then answer the questions and say, like, okay, now go do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Wall of text. Add a word limit and section headers. Mini practice with model answers. And then study guides, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll like go do that on your own is what you really should do. But there's an intro to prompting, and I think that's a good place to start for our little learning curve. You think that was helpful, Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you typing? Are you prompting now, or you already know this stuff and you skip the learning section?
No, I'm paying really close attention because I've actually learned stuff here already.
All right.
Because I do many of the mistakes that you pointed out already, so I'm taking notes.
All right, cool. Well, that'll be our learning segment. Now let's move on to our 2 topics of the day. I think we want to talk about Gen Z, right? So set the preface for this, and then we'll use some AI and find some answers.
Yeah, Gen Z is, I've been doing this long enough that every few years there's talk of, what's the problem with the kids?
It's happened since the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Somebody showed me a Time magazine cover of what's wrong with the generation in the 80s or something. They're all lazy
sure.
or yeah.
I actually said that in early on in doing our research, that the overall camping and outdoor hospitality report. One of the people in the room talked about the at the time it was millennials. Everybody wanted to talk about the millennials and what the.
How do I track millennials? Well, you go to fucking Google. They're in Google. Yeah. Stop obsessing over them.
Yeah, and I actually said this at the time. Again, this was many years ago. I go, you're saying the same things about them that your parents said about you. So each generation has every generation has its own challenges. There are some things that are common across the generations, but based on the context, there are obviously some pretty big differences. And with millennials, a lot of them entered adulthood and they're started building their careers and such when in the 08, 09 time frame when the economy was terrible. And what happened with that group is they ended up really taking to the outdoors. It was inexpensive. They went out, they were very peer oriented. They hung out with their friends and they took to camping, and they still do. So it's millennials is still our strongest group of campers, and they've evolved over time and their preferences and everything. And this is just the preface to get into Gen Z. But the millennials are kind of there. I think the oldest millennials are now like 44. They have kids, careers, and so on. But they're out there buying RVs and going glamping and such.
By the way, I'm 43. Like, I'm right on the edge of that.
Yeah. So there you go. Yep. You're one of them. You're one of that group. So by contrast, Gen Z, has its own set of challenges. One is, for many, a good part of that, there's still, Gen Zers and they're like 13 years old, but the group that are now adults, many of these were in high school during COVID. They were, shut in. They were, in their homes. They didn't have those real formative experiences at that time, so they, a lot of them graduated, virtually. And maybe they had their banners strewn about town, their face on it or something. But and by the way, just so everyone knows, we've actually done research on the group of Gen Zers who were in high school during COVID versus those who were not. And we see big differences in their level of socialization, their level of confidence, their participation in a lot of different activities. So I won't,
But what are the numbers, really briefly? I'm interested.
the for example, the group who was in high school during COVID, their likelihood to continue camping in the future is in the 20s. And this is ones who have actually gone camping. Like, so
Okay.
say they went camping last year, so you're looking at like 23%
Okay.
of them are likely to continue camping. Those who did not go to
Who
high
are
school,
older or younger, who did not.
or either older or younger, they're on either side of the sandwich. Their percentage is about twice that. It's close, like 47%
Okay.
are likely. We'd like it to be better, by the way,
Yeah.
but still, you're still looking at a pretty dramatic change, and it's kind of in your face. Like, this is a group who has some challenges, and
Do you think it's because they associate camping with COVID?
it's possible. It's funny you say I never considered that, but I think you might be right. There might be something about that. It's like, during that time, a lot of them, we saw this in our data that they were out there staying in RVs and staying at campgrounds and because they weren't in school. Their parents were like, "Oh, we're going to go on the road." It's like, so they'd buy an RV and they could travel and go and do things. But yeah, you may be absolutely right that because that's what everyone was doing. It's the only thing they could do.
No.
So yeah, and the other part of that is they didn't, right at the time when for a lot of kids, they develop confidence and they start to kind of figure out what their next steps in life are. They didn't have a lot of that, and so what we see with that group now is that they're hesitant to participate in travel. I'll focus on travel, obviously, because what we talk about here, but is that they a lot of them like to travel alone. 30% going to, for example, up to 30%. It depends on the situation, but 30% is a lot. But by comparison, typically most people, who you ask them, how do you travel? It's about 7%.
Yeah, I hate traveling
Travel.
alone. Like, I can do it, but like in business conferences is different, right? But for leisure, like I want to share the experience with somebody.
Right.
I don't want to talk to all the people, but like I want to share it with Krista, my girlfriend, or right?
Right, exactly. And and the outdoors, and especially camping in particular, has always been considered very social. I mean, part of the RV industry was built on communities of RVers in those group settings, that go way back to like Good Sam. I mean, they had millions of members, and they all loved it because they would travel in groups. They'd get together in groups. I mean, I remember talking to snowbirds in Florida from Canada who would hang out in Florida together, and then they go up to Canada. And in the summer, they'd get together up there. So this whole idea of group activities and group participation and the social parts of it. And a lot of people will talk about that. If you go out in the industry and talk to people about what's the difference in like camping to other types of leisure travel, that's a part of it. Like, people say hi to each other. They come over and say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you cooking? What do you got going on here?" This group doesn't like that. They don't. It's intimidating for them, and I don't want to say this so it sounds like, like it's a big negative or I'm being critical of them. It's they they don't they're not comfortable in these unplanned social situations,
Okay.
and so in terms of their travel, many of them would rather travel alone and then be able to control the socialization. They don't want to have it, again, unplanned, spontaneous, have other people coming to them. They want to be able to determine that.
Sure,
When we
that's fair.
look at some of the biggest barriers to continued participation among Gen Zers, one of the things they complain about the most is actually their travel companions, which is driving them to again, it's that self-determination. There's a
Yeah.
real desire there for that independence. Again, during COVID, these people, I can't call them kids anymore. I want to, just makes me sound old, but is they also, again, when you look at that time, their parents were there embedded in everything they did because they couldn't go out. They couldn't have all these social engagements. And so, this whole idea of the helicopter parents, their parents determined everything for them.
Yeah.
They told them what to do, where to be, when. They were highly protected. So when you think about outdoors participation, even if it's glamping, some people associate a certain amount of risk with that. There's different levels of it, depending on the type of experience you are looking for. But where, for example, millennials were out there, rock climbing and, downhill mountain biking racing and, all this kind of, the adventure sports. You
I still
don't
can't
see
believe I
that.
never broke a fucking arm or anything.
I was talking to someone just yesterday who's about your age, Brian, a couple of years younger, and she was talking about all the injuries she has, like from just participating in all this stuff, and when
Yeah,
she
like
was
when we were kids, like there was always like some kid who had like a broken arm or a sprained ankle or something that was limping home, right? And
right,
that was just normal. Like today, like when that happens, like I feel like the parents are rushing out to your parents' house as a kid, like freaking out, like this has never happened before. What do you, Johnny got a sprained ankle? How dare you treat my kids like that? Your kids are out of control. How dare you let them go skateboarding? Like, fuck off. We had
right.
fun.
So, but this is you're exactly right, and this is the environment and so I'm saying all this because this is the backdrop to where we're at. This is what's formed the habits of this group. They're highly uncomfortable in these different situations, which is why and I wrote about this a couple of years ago that why is it outdoor recreation, for example, still has decent participation, but one, they're much more casual participants. They don't do it very often, and if they do it, it's much more lower level again than previous generations like the millennials. And they don't stay overnight. They typically drive home, or they might stay at a hotel or motel or Airbnb, but they're not out kind of taking in the rest of that outdoor experience. And again, this is what's been happening, and this is why this group is not attached to the outdoors. Like, and I'll admit being wrong here. I always felt like you get people outdoors, they're going to take to it, and it'll just take care of itself. It's gonna be
Yeah, no,
self-healing.
it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so what we're faced with now is a large group who, I think, I don't know if I mentioned on the show before or not, but I did a class for a group of college students earlier this fall, and they were based in LA, and there were, I don't know, close to 30 kids in the class. And I was talking about glamping because that was the topic. And I asked them how many people had actually gone camping or glamping. And of all the kids in the class, not one had. And it was it was a little disheartening, because it's like, wow, that it was kind of a surprise to me that that no one No one had. And so anyway, kind of getting, this is, all to say that we obviously have a real challenge for us because as an industry, we can't afford to write off an entire generation.
No.
Um, it's like, we need them. We need their participation. The boomers are aging out. They're retiring and they're getting in RVs and stuff, but that's, again, they're aging out of it. So we need the younger people. It's the future.
What is the
And
age range of the boomers? Like, so when's the last year that they start retiring, or has that already happened?
it's boomers. The youngest boomers were born in 1964.
Which
So
would
there's
put them
61.
at like 50 years would be 2014, 60 years would be 2024. So plus 5 years. So 2029 would be the last year that the boomers start to retire, if assuming at the age of 65.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's coming fast. There's 10,000 boomers retiring a day right now. So so we need these younger people. And we've talked, about this, a lot within, different circles of folks within the industry. And, everybody kind of has their own thoughts on it. One of the things that we know about them as a group is that the ones whose parents took them in the outdoors, especially camping, multiple times in their teens, are much different. It's a much different group. They
In a
have a
good
lot
way for
more,
the industry, yes, I assume.
yeah. It's that group that they have confidence. Because what we do is we measure a lot of other things besides just how it relates directly to the industry. For example, we look at physically kind of emotional health, and self-confidence, stuff like that. So that group that went out multiple times during their teen years is so far above the rest of their peer group in terms of self-confidence, their leadership, their physical health, their mental health is it's just a very, you can see the benefits of that. And what we find with the other group who did not is, again, they're intimidated by some of these activities. I mean, I've been in presentations where people have laughed at me for talking about this, which it pisses me off. It's like, take a seat.
Closed-minded people, right? It's the
Yeah.
same. Well, look at all the people who laugh at me when I talk about AI, right? It's fine.
Yeah.
You'll be back.
But yeah, they laugh about it. But I'm like, well, guess what? If you want to get these people out and about, you kind of need to, consider these things. Like, for example, the idea of driving and parking an RV. It's like, if you don't know how to do that, are you going to be motivated to buy one? If no one's there if you don't know how to do it, if no one's there to show you, to ask you, like you said earlier, spend $100,000 on something that intimidates the hell out of you. Or the fact that you don't know how to do the basic tasks of camping, like building a campfire, how to set up, what gear to bring, what not to bring, how to stay comfortable, how to stay warm, how to stay dry, all those things. What food do you bring? How do you cook over a fire? Things that for many of us we don't even really think about. But for that group, they don't know that. One, because in many cases they never had that. They never had anyone do that. Now they're adults. And as adults, we all know how people are. They sometimes have a hard time asking for help. And are they going to spontaneously initiate a camping trip if they don't know where to start? If they don't know what to do, if they don't know what to bring? And if the rest of their peer group doesn't know it either. See, with millennials, the peer group they fed upon each other in terms of, if someone in the group didn't know how to do it, they knew that their friends did. So they would hop on board for a camping trip for the weekend, and it was cool. It's like other people would have gear. They know what to do, where to go, what to bring. With this group, their peer group is not participating. So, who are they going to go to? At that point, probably not their parents, because again, in many cases, maybe their parents didn't do it. Maybe that's why they never learned it. So I guess where we're headed with all this is, what do we do? What do we do with this group? How do we bring them on board? How do what's that that entry point for them? How do we get them to participate at a higher level? And I know you're probably searching like crazy on some of this stuff, which is great. I mean, I did a couple basic um, queries myself, and just based on some of the work we've done. But I what I can say that some of the drivers are, as we enter into the next part of the conversation, is that comfort. They want to be comfortable, and that's both physically and emotionally comfortable. That's
Yep.
the biggest thing. Cost has to be a consideration, and social responsibility. It's a group of kids that's really social responsibility stuff. So we talk a lot about the soft landing. What is that soft landing for this group? Because that's what's needed to bring them into the fold.
All right. Well, let's get some answers
All right, cool.
from AI. So
I've been
you
talking
want to
about
share
that.
my screen over here, Hudson? So I was typing. This is what I was typing while you were talking. I wasn't ignoring you. So I said, help me understand Gen Z from the perspective of a campground owner. Deep dive into their psychology, their wants, needs, how COVID impacted them. What is their level of participation in the campground and RV park industry? Are they driving and parking and buying RVs? Do they want to be outside? Is there a negative correlation between the outdoors and COVID because that was the only place to go during COVID? What types of amenities attract them? How do I bring them on board, get them to participate in camping, or get them involved? Before you start, what questions do you need to ask me to make your answer better? Prompting 101, okay? So great brief. Before I dive in, here are the key questions that will help me tailor this. So we're going to answer this together. Scott, ready?
All right.
Your properties and market. Where are your parks, regions, climates, and seasonality? So I own properties all over the USA and Canada, and seasonality varies. You tell me if I'm doing anything wrong, but I want it to give a broader, all-encompassing picture, right?
Yep.
What mix, transient RVs versus long-term camping, all of the above, or a mix of transient and cabins, glamping, tents, and groups across my parks. Typical nightly rate ranges for each accommodation type. What do you want to put here?
I would tent about $40 to $50. RVs like 65 to 95, we'll say. And for cabin, I would go with like 120 to 180.
Okay. All right. Then 2 is, if I can type 2, current audience and goals. What's your current guest mix by age, even rough, families with kids? So a mix of all ages and types across my campgrounds.
Did we want to focus on Gen Z? Was this for Gen Z?
Yeah, but what's your current guest mix by age?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay.
Maybe
Current mix, yeah,
few
okay.
Gen Z, but I don't really track it.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good.
Are you trying to acquire new Gen Z campers, convert day use to overnights, or upsell? I am trying to acquire new Gen Z campers, mostly. Don't know why they don't come.
Yep.
Success metric you care about most: ADR, RevPAR, occupancy, ancillary spend, social growth, email signups, repeat rate. Repeat rate?
Yeah, let's do repeat rate. Yeah, I like that.
Get them to enjoy the experience. Okay, 3, brand and positioning. How do you want to be perceived? Quiet nature escape versus social active versus festival adjacent. Have properties that fall into all 3 categories and more. Again, I just want it to be as broad as we can for people.
Yeah.
Any brand values that are non-negotiable. Sustainable. No brand values that are non-negotiable. Okay. 4 is amenities and programming today. What do you currently offer? So what do we currently offer? Make up something. Go on.
I would say, high quality Wi-Fi. Um, we have, a campground store, uh, swimming pool, wellness, bike rentals.
We do have wellness
Let's
currently.
let's not include wellness now. Yeah, swimming pool, and uh, yeah,
A dog
just
park and
dog park. Yeah.
mini golf. How about that?
Okay, perfect.
Any plans or budget for new amenities? We do have budget for some new amenities. 5, digital funnel. Where do Gen Z currently discover you? No idea about where Gen Z currently discovers me. Don't track it. So I don't know what's working or not. Counting on your analysis for this. Do you have UGC or creator program? Any influencer partner? No real influencer partnerships yet. What's your email SMS list size? 5,000 people on the email list, but I just collect their email address and name, not age. That's what most people do.
Right. Yep.
6, constraints and ops, CapEx ceiling for new amenities in the year. Give me something for that.
Oh, geez. I would say to be determined, because this is. Let's leave it. Okay, I think
No real. You said what?
I said I just think it'd be interesting to see what the answer comes back by leaving that open.
No real staffing constraints or limitations on programming or technology. No noise. Some neighbors with noise constraints. No parties, etc. Right?
Yeah.
7, data and tooling. Do you track guest NPS by age? Nope.
No.
I don't track that stuff. No real survey data. Counting on you. What PMS CRM marketing stack are you on? We'll say using CampSpot currently at some parks and NewBook at other properties. Open to new software and CRMs, etc. But primarily want to focus on Gen Z and their psychology. Don't need marketing or software advice. 8, how comfortable are you with pilot tests? Pilot tests are great. Open to new ideas for everything. Are you open to off-peak? I'm just open to it. Everything. 9, local ecosystem, nearby draws. A mix of everything depending on park location.
You could say all parks are located near some type of natural attraction.
Okay. No existing partnerships. And then Evidence expectations 10. When I give you participation stats, do you want me to pull the latest industry reports or keep this first cut for my internal knowledge only? What do you want?
I would say that to access the industry stats, see what, because that will help form some of what could be expected, I think. Yeah.
All right. Remember, the goal is understanding and attracting Gen Z per my prompt above, not giving me operational advice on my campground. Okay.
All right.
That's way more questions than I thought it was going to ask me.
Well, this is all a learning session, right?
Yeah.
This could be, this output could be quite valuable in all seriousness. It's like, something we provide some questions we might want to ask, some areas we might want to research.
So you can see here, like it's thinking. We can go through here and you can watch where it's like thinking about if you really are bored while you're watching this. So it's doing KOA, awesome, whatever else. Okay. Okay, so for the podcast listeners, I'll keep this squarely on understanding Gen Z and what you can build or offer to win them. I'll weave in current data cited and then translate it into park level moves you can deploy without turning this into a marketing software conversation. Gen Z in a nutshell, born 1997 through 2012. Is that you, Hudson? Are you Gen Z? All right. Core drives is autonomy plus experiences are greater than possessions. Do you agree with that, Hudson? Do you want to be a case study for us? All right. You can turn on your mic if you want. Just turn on your mic and say yes or no. All right. So autonomy plus experiences is greater than possessions. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Community in real life plus digital. Mental health and wellness. These are your core drives, right? So ethical and sustainable signals, but often a gap between stated values and paid actions.
That is true. We've seen that in our research.
Okay. And I want it easy but unique. Is all that fair?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, just to put some context to that, the gap between stated values and paid actions, it's like in many cases that they have the value system embedded there, but sometimes it's hard to do that because of the cost, the associated costs of doing that. For example, sometimes staying at places, campgrounds or whatever that use these sustainable practices, you pay more for it. So,
You have anything to add, Hudson?
No.
Okay. Also, Gen Z doesn't like to talk on podcasts very much in complete sentences. We've learned this. Spending posture, budget conscious on lodging, but surprisingly high on trip spend for add-ons, gear rentals, food, and local experiences. KOA reports younger campers, Gen Z millennials, are the majority of new campers and are driving higher per day spending. Multiple summaries peg Gen Z as day spend around the top of all cohorts.
that is true, because I did that. But yeah, it is true that they aren't spending it necessarily on accommodations, but other stuff. Yep.
Okay. Did COVID push them outdoors or sour them on it? Macro participation surged. Outdoor participation hit record levels through 2023, 175.8 million people, 57% of the U.S. population. Camping households since 2019 grew by 11 million. That growth disproportionately included younger cohorts. But nuance matters. Some studies that measured self-reported outdoor nature activities during the tightest lockdowns found declines, access closures, plus anxiety, while camping and nearby, casual activities jumped once restrictions eased. So the correlation isn't outdoors versus COVID equals negative. Its restrictions dipped participation briefly, then outdoors became the safe, affordable release valve, especially for first-timers and Gen Z. What do you think?
Interesting. Yeah. Outdoors equals negative. it's yeah, this is part of being able to tease out that group again. That was in high school during COVID makes a big difference in this, and it's actually inspired me to dig into that a little bit more. That
Okay.
group.
Today's residue, more new and casual participants in gateway activities, hiking or camping.
Yep.
Youth participation is still rising. 2025 executive summaries highlight gains among youth and core frequent users. Translation, the pipeline is there. They just need the right on-ramp.
Yeah. And right, it's a leaky bucket. That's the problem. It's a leaky bucket.
What would make you want to go camping, Hudson? You got to talk into the mic if you want to talk into.
What would make you want to go camping?
Yeah. Or glamping, or spend time outside in nature, or whatever.
Well, like I like to go camping, just like the outdoor side of it, like biking and stuff.
Okay. What would make you want to stay overnight at like a campground? Like, what would the campground have to have?
Well, honestly, not much for me. Like just a camp, like camping in itself is fun, but for more like a community or like a what's it called, glamping site.
Yep.
That's fun as well. If it has like activities like basketball court or outdoor fire pit or something like that.
Okay. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah. No, that tracks.
All right. Are Gen Z actually camping, driving, and using RVs? Camping adoption. Gen Z and millennials made 61% of new campers in 2024. Like, that's an interesting statistic all by itself, right? Like we've talked about many people who are focused on the boomers and still building the parking lots for RVs and everything else, right? And meeting the expectations of that. They're not wrong or incorrect, but the expectations of the boomers that I want a place to just park my RV and you can have a mini golf course and a swimming pool and maybe some planned activities, and that's really all I need. But if you're trying to meet the expectations of new campers, 61% of them are not boomers. They have different expectations of what a campground means in 2024, let alone what it is in 2025. Solo camping is rising and is Gen Z skewed.
Yep.
Talked about that.
I talked about that. Yeah.
RV interest and ownership. Median RV owner age keeps dropping. Younger, more diverse owners are growing as first-time buyers, but that's RVIA. How like the problem is like, what is the numbers behind that?
Right. And exactly. And what they're doing is when we look at the actual data, what's in the market, this is so heavily skewed to the small towables. Everybody thinks about RVing and they think about, van life or, the class A's and class C's, but those make such a small proportion of the number of RVs on the road. It's like,
Hudson, would you ever buy a big RV?
Yeah, I would. My grandpa has one. It's really cool.
So would you prefer that or like a van life, like
a trailer?
Like just even like a little kind of van that was like tricked out, yeah.
Maybe the van.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, the average price of an RV, I don't know, what is it, like 20, 30,000?
Is it that cheap?
Which means
well,
that,
if you're including vans, I guess it's that cheap, yeah.
Yeah, vans and the towables,
Is a van that cheap? Like a fucking pickup truck is like $80,000 to $100,000, isn't it?
Right. Well, yeah, the vans, honestly, some of them aren't a whole lot more, but you can also get a small towable for under 10 grand.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I think close to 2/3 of all the RVs on the road are small towables. So it's like, when you just look at the sheer numbers, it's so heavily skewed toward that part. But that's why the average age has dropped, because, if you want to, a young couple could go out and buy a small towable for 10 grand and go out on the road, and it's, geez, when you start thinking about buying all your camping gear, it's really, not that much more, to be honest with you. And the financing is friendly.
Well, for now, yeah. But like, so like, again, this is part of the reason why I don't like it to research, because then it brings back, not that they're incorrect, right? But they all have a way of steering data. So do I, and so do we on this show, right? but intent is strong. Industry data shows 72% of Gen Z RV owners plan to buy another RV. So if you read this as a campground owner, you're like, oh, great, Gen Z loves buying RVs. This is wonderful. But like, how many total Gen Zs actually own RVs is the question.
Right.
And then 72% of those, right? Like, is it
But I would
72%?
say,
Is it 72 people out of 100 that are right?
well, this is the old saying, like, how to lie with statistics.
Yeah.
It's how you frame it. One is, what's the ownership rate? But if I flip this on you and I said your attrition rate is 28%, if you own a business and someone told you your attrition rate was 28%, would that be acceptable to you? Would you think that that's a good thing? It is not.
No, yeah.
That 28% is high. That's, almost 3 out of 10 are saying, no, I would not buy another one. That's a problem.
Yeah. Can they drive or park it? The Gen Z doesn't drive meme is overstated. Yes, license rates at age 16 are down versus 2000, but recent mobility surveys show Gen Z saying they're driving more than 5 years ago. Privately owned vehicles still signal freedom and control. Practicality, some will arrive by car or van, some will ride share or carpool. Make arrival and parking frictionless either way. All right, what Gen Z want from a campground experience? Think low friction first and then standout moments. Your current price bands are fine for entry, so the differentiator is feel plus amenities that map to their psychology. Fast, stable Wi-Fi everywhere. You already have this. Keep latency low. Work from campsite and creator behavior are now normalized. Clean, modern bathrooms. Hotel adjacent cleanliness signals. Digital clarity. Clear site photos. Exact pad lengths. Cable management and power details. And effortless check-in, check-out. QR codes. Late arrival instructions. Behavioral trust queue. Magnet amenities, small to big levers, creator and co-work nooks, shaded tables, power USB, device lockers, a content wall or scenic photo spot designed to be filmed, subtle brand, aligns with Gen Z's document and share habit. Gear rentals and micro adventures, day packs, hammocks, pickleball sets, e-bikes, kayaks, sups, night sky kits, star maps and red light headlamps. Younger campers rent, not own. This is where their trip spend flows. What do you think about that?
Yeah. The rental issue, I think, is one that's going to impact the RV industry a little bit more because the cost of rentals is high. To rent an RV is pretty damn high. So when you start looking at the cost for an outing, it's one of the reasons why you don't see more frequent rental trips from Gen Zers and younger millennials too, because to have that week, you can do that one weekend adventure, but you're kind of blowing your whole budget on it. To rent, like a Class C for a weekend, is going to cost you about $300 a night when everything's considered. So
yeah, I'd rather just stay at a luxury hotel.
Right. So that's $300 just for the rental. That doesn't include campground fees
or gas.
And gas. So yeah, I mean, when you start doing the calculus on that, which I'm pretty sure a lot of them have done, it's like they'll take that trip because they can have a bunch of their friends pitch in or whatever. But in general, it's not going to happen that often. It's a little bit out of reach for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's getting more out of reach, I think, as we continue to have inflation go up.
Inflation, insurance rates are a big driver of that too. So, all those things are increasing.
Wellness cues, morning stretch or breathwork lawn, trail to cold plunge, stock tank, sauna tent weekends, and quiet hours that are calm but not stuffy. Wellness is a Gen Z theme and it photographs well. Are you interested in wellness, Hudson?
Not really.
Okay. But that's fair. So Hudson, you're how old?
Pardon me?
How old are you?
17.
17. Okay, so we got a younger end of the Gen Z who's commenting on this, right? So like when his back starts to ache, he might be interested in wellness. But so,
I'm sure some people my age are, just not
yeah.
me.
Well, when you meet a night, do you have a girlfriend?
No.
When you get a girlfriend and she's like, take me to a spa, you'll be like, oh fuck yeah, wellness is what it's all about now. I love that shit. So glamping light units, a handful of canvas geo tents with real beds, outlets, lantern ambiance, priced in your 120 to 180 band. convert the RV curious but not ready crowd. KOA and others are doubling down on glamping for younger guests. Agree, Scott?
Yeah, yeah. Those basic cabins, pods, stuff like that. Again, that's a soft landing. It's not too expensive, but you have a roof, a door that locks, lights. You're in a place with good facilities. It's again, to use the term, the soft landing. It's a good place to get. If you think of how, and I'll use KOA as the example just because I work with them, is that if you look at how a lot of their campgrounds are designed, they'll have those basic, they call them the camping cabins, the rustic cabins. They'll be in a group together. That plays right into the Gen Z approach, which is you can have your own accommodation, but then you can go outside and have that common area, the fire pit, whatever, to hang out with your friends. So it's one of the reasons a lot of Gen Zers like Airbnbs, for example. You can have your own room, but you have a common area to hang out in. So you still, it's that self-determination part.
EV and van life friendly. A couple L2 chargers, pull-throughs that explicitly note van compatibility, easy water fill, gray disposal guidance. Dog first touches. You already have a dog park at a wash station and good pup treat at check-in. That's good for all ages. Programming that fits noise constraints. Early evening micro events, s'mores, socials, camp chef demos, stargazing talks, wind down by 9 or 10 p.m. just for quiet hour. Learn to outdoors clinics, first camp setup, leave no trace light, night photo basics. Like if I was a campground, I would do all this shit online on my social media. Like I recognize that staff is hard and this is an issue. Also, you have like AI now, right? Put your face into Sora and run your own tutorials, right? But like, to be clear, that this needs to be done in person too. Like there needs to be a, like, here's how you set up your camp. There needs to be, maybe not leave no trace. Like obviously you need to emphasize that, but I don't know if that needs to be an in-person class. Night photo basics for sure. Like here's how you take a campground. Here's the shitty picture I just took. Here's how you adjust it, right? But you can start with online, and that's a good marketing tool that's unique to your campground. I'd be willing to bet there's not a single campground in the United States that is doing online classes like this right now. I'd be willing to bet. So, like, why would you not be that person? Why would you not be like spend an hour of your week? And I get it. You have a lot of shit to do. But spend an hour of your week and make these like, hey, I'm here from whatever campground. I'm here to show you how to set up a campground tent for the first time or whatever, right?
Sure. I think I think the opportunity for that kind of thing is, I think the payback could be huge. For example, you have someone showing up in a towable RV and you have a little video about how to back into the site. It's like, here's how you do it. And if you need help when you arrive, just let us know. Let us know in advance and we'll be there. We'll have someone be there to help you do it. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff like that. It's like, we'll help you set up your first campfire. All those things. It's huge. I think, and people love that video content.
All right, how to bring them on board without turning this into a software project. The on-ramp they'll actually take. Remove first-timer friction. Bundle starter camps. Tent site plus gear kit. Tent pre-pitched, available Friday only. 2 clinic seats. Late checkout Sunday. Price anchored to your 40 to 50 tent ban plus a kit fee. Margin comes from gear and food and beverage. Matches rental heavy spend. What do you think?
Yep, love it. Love it. I don't know why more people don't do it.
Would you go for like a starter camp?
Yeah, then I don't have to go buy my own stuff. That'd be great.
Exactly. Yeah.
Especially if I don't know what I'm doing, then like they already have it set up for me.
Right. And it maximizes your time too. You show up, you have to do all that shit. It's like, boom, you're on board and yeah.
All right. Offer RV curious pathways. I don't even care if they buy an RV. Sorry, RV industry. I just care if you're at my campground giving me money. But okay. Partner with nearby RV rental hosts, RV share or outdoorsy hosts for delivery setup packages on your pads. Create a named product, first RV weekend, with a simple checklist and a host walkthrough. Gen Z interest in RV trips is sustained even when ownership lags. So that's and then fair goes to the barrier of the pricing, right? That you talked
Yep.
about too. Which is why I'm saying, like, again, I like you. We should do our best to introduce them into the RV lifestyle, the industry, the benefits of doing this stuff. But also, like, if they're outdoors and they're enjoying nature and they're at your campground, that's the primary goal, right?
Right.
RVs can be one of the goals, but they can go glamping, they can do van life, they can tent camp, they can do whatever interests them. Give them something that they're interested in.
I agree. I think that the key is to spark their initial interest and then let them explore and find out on their own how they want to do it. Who knows, they might want to get into backpacking, and
Yeah.
doing some backcountry stuff. It's like, yeah, let that curiosity lead the way.
Have a small med tent if they get mauled by a bear.
Yeah,
All
well, you
kinds of
need to.
little amenities you can, tweak. Designed for small groups. Bookable micro group pods, 3 to 5 adjacent sites. We talked about this, and a shared picnic pergola with split payments. Gen Z travels in friend pods, gives them their corner without a party vibe. Super easy to take split payments now. You can take Klarna, you can accept that. You can accept Affirm through Stripe. All those different companies that like give you the money up front and then they handle the split payments later, right? But that shared area, like you were talking about, the Airbnbs. Make the park content easy. Wayfinding with short scenic loops, photo spot markers, sunrise ridge 8-minute walk, and a light box of shot ideas. This doesn't need influencers to work. It harnesses normal UGC behavior. What do you think of this?
Absolutely. This is user generated content, obviously, and it the network that these people will have is going to be the type of guests that you want to come back. That it's because it's going to be their friends and family and the people they know that are in their social networks. They're going to see this. That's
But also have fun with it, right? Like there's ways you can have fun with it and get social media exposure. So like I'll give you an example. I was in Churchill, Manitoba with Krista a couple months ago. I think it was in May, maybe. We went up to Churchill for her birthday. Or no, it was in June. We did it afterward. Anyway, whatever. We were in Churchill. And so there's these signs, like if you go to Churchill is known as the polar bear capital of the world. There are like not at the time we went, but normally there are like thousands of polar bears that sit on the edge of the thing waiting for the ice to form of the shore up there on the Hudson Bay. They wait for the ice to form. And then they like will swim out to the ice and then they'll stay out there the whole winter and they do their hunting and fishing and all that stuff, right? So like it was the worst off month. We still saw a polar bear, but like normally they'll just walk through town. And apparently, like we were told, like everybody just keeps their cars unlocked and their houses unlocked. So if there's a polar bear, you could just jump in someone else's car. And so you don't get like, because they will kill you for sure, right? If they come across you. But like there were signs on the edge of town that said like, danger, don't go past here. This is like, you will, like there are polar bears here, right? And so like that is a way of like informing guests, but also like I took a picture of that shit and I was like, I didn't put it on social media because I'm not a social media person, but I shared it with a couple people and because it's cool, right?
right.
Like I'm
Absolutely.
right at the edge of like where this place is where like if I step past here, there might be, and there wasn't really usually, but like there's so many hills and rocks and like, and for sure we saw polar bears that were super close to town. They were having a wedding there when we were there, and there was like a polar bear that was like, I don't know, we spotted it. We were tracking it the whole day with this dude, with this guy who was a guide up there. I think his name is Leroy. And like they were setting up an outdoor wedding by the thing, and like Leroy knows everybody in town, so he drove up. He's like, "Yo, there's a polar bear, like like a half a mile away or whatever, half a kilometer away. Just be aware of this, right? Like bring some shotguns to the wedding, like, right?" So just but putting little signs around there, like have a fun, quirky moment of like, even if there's no bears around your campground, be like, don't go this way, bear, and then like point it toward the sign toward like a dead end or something, right? Like just people will take pictures of it. They'll have fun with it. They'll interact with it. There's ways that you can be quirky with it and get, but whether it's actual helpful information or not, just take that opportunity to interact and be more personal with your guests, I think, is an interesting way to do things, right?
Sure. Add something unique, like you said, fun, quirky. Quirky is always good.
It's just different shit that they don't see everywhere else. That's all it is. And that doesn't all just apply to Gen Z. That applies to everybody.
Absolutely.
Like, here's something I haven't seen before. Okay, I want to take a photo of that because I never fucking seen it before. And then the natural thing today is like, well, let's share it on social media or at least in a text group or WhatsApp or whatever else, right? Snapchat, et cetera, et cetera. Wellness and Reset, weekly Reset Sunday, apparently only for Gen Zers who have girlfriends, but guided stretch and late checkout, or midweek reset rates that reward slower travel, both track to Gen Z's wellness and mental health framing. Signals of sustainability, clear recycling compost, refill water stations, rentable kits to reduce single use, a short what we do, what you can do card. Does sustainability matter to you, Hudson?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. And does it impact like where you would go camping or?
Yeah.
Okay. Price bands you shared, what to emphasize. Tent, $40 to $50. Starter camps, clinics, gear ad bundles, late checkout, and pod sites. RV, $65 to $95. Delivery and set RV packages. Van pads noted clearly. EV friendliness, early evening socials. Cabin and glamp, 100. And that's, to be clear, hold on. That early evening socials is interesting. You like to complain, not you, Scott. People like to complain about people partying all night long. Whether they're Gen Z or not, if you were able to set up actual social events that weren't like, ice cream socials or some shit, just like, here's a set event, we're going to have, sell a couple beers or give a couple beers away or have a campfire or whatever else. And you bring some of the people who want to socialize together and then it ends at 9 or 10 o'clock, then there's a better chance, I think, that they can get some of their socialization out of their system, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
right.
Maybe that helps. Cabin glamp, glamping light upgrades, power, cozy lighting and linens, wellness add-ons, and photo-worthy interiors. Why this maps to your repeat rate, your number one metric. Reduces first trip anxiety equals a better first experience equals higher intent to return. Seen industry-wide with gateway entrants who are nurtured into core users. Aligns with how younger campers spend on rentals and experiences, so you can capture ancillary revenue without hiking ADR beyond their sensitivity. So important.
Absolutely.
Like, everybody has raised their rates to the fucking death of everything over COVID because they could get it. Now, what if you lower your rates and figure out a way to charge more on property for the things and experiences and rentals and everything else? And then you end up making more because they're at your campground for a lower rate than you would have had they actually paid the full rate that you had before you dropped it down. Like, but that requires, like, you have to put thought into those experiences, right?
Yep.
Creates a social ritual, small pods plus content-worthy moments, leads to organic referrals and friend trip repeats. Gen Z trusts peers and social proof more than ads. Do you even watch ads, Hudson?
No.
Yeah.
There's
Not at all. Okay. Quick evidence recap. Outdoor participation. Okay, we got that. 2 fast pilots, starter camps, and 6 pre-pinch tents on Friday and Saturday only, plus clinics, plus late checkout. Track, uptake, add-on rentals, and return intent. First RV weekend, delivery setup as an RV heavy park. 2 pads earmarked for rentals, Saturday walkthrough, and content-friendly staging. Track conversion to repeat stays, any accommodation, NPS, and referrals. I'll end Socratically. Okay. So let's answer those again, but only with your internal knowledge.
So, by the way, just as you're typing that, just to add a point on there, as I was thinking about when like late checkout was added on there, that one of the ways that these like pre-set up packages can be positioned as well is, guess what? When you get home, you don't have to unpack all that stuff. You don't have to dry it out, hang it up, wash it. It's like it's all done for you.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
takes me
someone
like a
else is
week and a
taking
half
care of it.
sometimes to unpack my bag when I come home from a conference. It does not go over well with my girlfriend.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I was just thinking of the same thing. Like
I would rather, and I'm environmentally friendly, right? I would rather just throw my clothes into some recyclable incinerator type thing that takes the material and like makes new clothes and just buy new clothes.
Yeah, I'm
Like, I don't want to throw them away. Understand what I'm saying, right? Which is But if I could figure out a way to recycle them, then absolutely I would rather do that than do laundry. I'm a lazy motherfucker. When I'm like, because I like to do my work and I have other things that I need to do and prioritize that I choose to prioritize. So that would be my thing. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh no, that was I just was thinking about coming home from the glamping show and just that whole thing of putting so many different things in so many different places, and it's like, yeah, and that wasn't even a camping trip, like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I pack really light. Like I carry a shoulder bag and whatever else. And like I'm going to Croatia next week to speak at a camping conference on like the future of tourism in Europe and a little bit of AI that I'll sprinkle in there and stuff like that. And then to France, but like I'll just take like 3 or 4 outfits and I'll either wash it in Airbnb or recycle my jeans or whatever else and bring enough shirts, right? But I don't see the need to travel with all that stuff. But that's me. So I ask it here, and we'll close the show with this. I guess we're only going to get to one thing, Scott. So
That's fine. I think I love this deep dive into this topic. I hope the people who are listening and watching enjoyed it, because it's been I think it's been really enlightening and kind of fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, so I told it again, answer those again, but only with your own internal knowledge and no sources. So it did. But instead of just reading that, I said, what's different with your own internal knowledge? Short version, the internal knowledge drops all time-sensitive facts and numbers, so it's broader, less certain, and more principle-driven. Okay, but what do you specifically think is different versus what you researched? I don't know. It like sometimes it gets stuck if you've already done it and it has it in its memory in the conversation. It's really hard to steer it away from that. So here's what changed or sharpened once I looked at the research versus my own internal priors. Internal prior, outdoors grew a lot and Gen Z joined in. And then research delta, documented record participation, Gen Z share of new campers. That seems kind of boring. Internal prior was ownership is older. Gen Z taps rentals or RV life. So it seems to like have reinforced his behavior for most of the stuff. But do you disagree with any of the research? It's my last attempt, and then we'll just give up because it's in the same conversation, so it's hard. Do you disagree with any of the research, Hudson?
No, I think it's pretty accurate.
Okay. Anything like you would add to it?
No, I just think that like the idea that we're really lazy and the prepared stuff would go really well. So
Do you think you are lazy, or are you?
yeah, I'm admitting to it, and I feel like a lot of people my age are the same way. They don't like to like do stuff like packing, and so that like pre-organized things a really good idea.
There you go, Scott.
All right, I'm going to quote you on that, Hudson.
I mean, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, right? Like the more you can make my life, and everybody is, to be clear. Like you talked about the ability of the people who were complaining in the 1980s who said the same thing about their generation, and then the generation says the same thing about the next generation, right? Like this whole idea of laziness, it's not laziness, it's that technology has evolved to the point where we're able to provide these experiences, where we're able to curate them, where we're able to use tools like AI, or we're able to like, use online research or whatever to curate these packages that didn't, like, these things weren't available before. Now that they are available, it makes it seem like that generation is acting lazy, but really they're just expecting something that is now available to them. And why wouldn't you? Like it's the same argument of like the new generation of Gen Zers or Gen Xers or whatever are lazy because they all want to be influencers. The fuck wouldn't you want to be an influencer? Of course you would. sit there and video yourself and not have to go to work in a stuffy office every day and sit behind a computer, right? If you had that opportunity in the 1980s, you for sure would have been all over it. Don't be
Oh,
all
geez.
salty because they have the opportunity and you don't, right?
Oh my God. I'd love that. I'd love that.
Yes.
I'd love to put on like a body cam and just walk around all day, like recording shit. And then, oh, there you go. Have it. Here's, yeah, it'd be awesome.
All right. So, short answer, I don't reject the direction of the research, but I do challenge several leaps people make from it. Here's where I push back and what I test before betting big. Record outdoor participation does not equal repeat campers.
Correct.
Many reports count anyone with one outdoor outing in a year. That inflates the base and tells us little about frequency or overnight intent. I treat the boom as a bigger funnel top, not proof of durable camping behavior.
And that's why we're kind of flat decreasing industry. So, yep.
Gen Z millennials equal most new campers, true-ish. Does not equal they'll behave like core campers.
Correct.
New camper definitions vary and can be skewed by brand panels. Also, new doesn't mean sticky. I want conversion to second stay before redesigning sites around them.
Yep. I've been saying that for years. Yep.
Solo camping rise may be overstated for private parks. It's growing, but the revenue mix in most private parks still leans couples, friends, and families. I'd support solos, late arrival, and small site options without over-allocating inventory.
That's a smart move. They're there. They're out there, and you want to accommodate them, but don't sacrifice.
Higher on-trip ancillary spend among younger campers is not universal. It's often driven by the subset already interested in gear or experiences. In price-sensitive markets, upsell take rate drops fast. I'd validate with A/B pricing on rentals and track attach rates per cohort.
And that's also related to those one-trip people, as I talked about earlier. Like if you're taking just one trip, you tend to spend a little bit more per day than people who take multiple trips.
Okay. Younger RV ownership and high rebuy intent does not equal near-term purchases. Intent surveys are noisy. Rate environment, storage, insurance, and urban living work against ownership. Rentals and delivered setups are safer bets than assuming a near-term ownership wave.
I agree with the first part. The second part, as I mentioned before, rentals are expensive. It's not if you're
but they still, that doesn't change the fact that they're safer bets than assuming a near-term ownership wave. Like, for example, I don't know, maybe let's pretend there was a company who put out a statistic that there would be 16 million RV owners instead of 8 million in 5 years. I'm not saying that exists anywhere out there, but let's say pretend for a second that it did. This might be a good use case for why rentals are safer bets than assuming a near-term ownership wave. Is that fair?
Right, and especially not knowing who that is and what they're buying.
Because it's completely fictional and it's made up, of course. Gen Z drives more now, depends on geography. Urban Gen Z can be car light. They can also pick up and take off in a flying car soon. Rural parks still require cars for now. I design frictionless car arrival and test small shuttles or rideshare signage for late arrivals near transit towns. Glamping is a gateway, yes, but margin math is fragile. At $120 to $180, cleaning, linens, wear and tear, and turn cost can erode profit. Small photo-worthy glamping light clusters, not a huge build-out, are prudent until you confirm LOS and repeat.
Yep.
You agree?
Yep, I sure
Nodding,
do.
but like people might be watching.
Landing, it's before you put a huge amount of money into it.
COVID effect persistence is uncertain. The safe outdoor escape tailwind is real, but macro squeeze, rents, loans, and fuel can pull Gen Z back to cheaper day use. I'd plan for elastic demand and make your offers modular. Sustainability signals do it, but keep it effortless. Stated values are high. Revealed willingness to pay is mixed. Low friction water refill, waste sorting, and rent not buy kits beat big CapEx green projects for this cohort. And creator spaces drive bookings is often correlation, not causation. User-generated content is table stakes. A mural won't fix a mid-park. Keep creator-friendly touches, but tie them to measured lifts, clicks to book, and repeat rates, not vibes. So there you go.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we are actually over, interestingly enough. So that's a good conversation. Final thoughts, Scott, before we go?
No, this was good. I really liked how we kind of built the story there, and it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap that a lot of parks, you can't just jump in and do everything that we talked about. But you know what? There's a lot of good stuff in there that we talked about today that you can to think about, get the thought process going. Do something. We always say that, but if you're a park owner, do something. Embrace this group. Ask questions of them. If you have Gen Zers as your guests, ask them questions, like Brian just did with Hudson throughout our conversation here. Have a similar conversation. Ask them, and you might be surprised at what you come up with.
For sure. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Outwired. We are done for today, and we're probably not going to be back for like 2 weeks, Scott, because I'm going to be in Croatia, and it's going to be like, I don't know, midnight when our show is supposed to normally go on in Croatia. So I feel like we're just going to skip next week, and probably the week after, because I'll be in France also. So I think the next show that we'll have will probably be, I don't know if it'll be live. I'm going to hire a film crew in Louisville, and probably in KOA too at Raleigh. To follow me around for the day. So they'll be there the whole day Wednesday. And so I think we'll try to do our show, Scott, but like it might be just recorded and it might be a short one. And
all right, cool.
All the problems that we had at the glamping show. But hopefully that'll be more professional. So we'll try to do one maybe live from OHA and live from KOA.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it and see you later. Nice to see you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.